I started recording, but I don't
Oh,
think
great.
I'm not gonna use that clip.
That's probably a good idea.
Welcome to the ParkStop podcast, episode 13. My name is Alicia Stella. With me, as always, my co-host Ian.
Hey, kids.
And today we have a very special guest, Kevin Purger of Defunctland.
It's about time, Alicia. I've been including you in all the things for a year now, and you finally decided to include me in any of your things, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, I forget. When was I on the Defunctland podcast?
Okay, fair enough, but you have been you've been in an episode of Defunctland, which very few people can say they have.
That's
They've
true.
been,
That's true.
because it's not formatted for that.
I'm not even on the radar, so it doesn't matter.
There you were in Charity Land as my wife, because I played John Progress and you played Sarah Progress, right?
John.
John. It'll never work. And then of course we've done a ton of stuff since then. In the past 4 months we've done tons and tons of stuff.
Some of it that people have seen.
Some of it, and some of it that people will see.
So, well, we mentioned you on a Patreon only podcast last week, and you caught wind of it because I promoted it on Twitter, and we'll actually be releasing that on YouTube because I want to show off some of the stuff we talked about. But then you contacted me.
I don't know why you didn't reach out to me, because I have a bunch of footage that no one's seen of our 20,000 Leagues, which is what we've been building on the VR, which I don't know if you talked about that, but we have a bunch of pictures of 20K. That you could have easily, texted me, but no.
Well, I didn't do the video version yet. It's just audio. So I will contact you now for any video that you may have.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I don't have any. Real busy.
I was just going to grab it from Charity Land. You showed it on Charity Land.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but there's other stuff. I mean,
cool.
Those projects just take so long. People are not patient either, especially when you promote it. Ugh.
Oh, yeah. That's what you get for telling people about it.
I know, but eventually we'll figure it out.
So today, on our 13th episode, I have prepared 13 questions, which was a complete coincidence, but I mentioned it because it was a happy coincidence. So we're going to talk about Defunctland and your many projects, because apparently you have all the time in the universe. You're always asking me, how do you not have time to do this? And I'm like, how do you have time to do all the things that you do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have all the time in the universe, because I also do things outside of the Defunctland, Defunct TV world. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I do things outside of ParkStop too, but I'm having trouble juggling it. Sometimes I just don't sleep.
It might be because I know you do a lot of stuff outside as well, but I think it's because I'm not in the heart of Orlando.
Oh,
I mean, I never go.
You're not forced to go ride Hagrid when it opens and wait 9 hours.
Right, exactly. I'm not pushed into an 8-hour line for 3 days in a row. So
I only waited 6.5 hours, but I had to get up at 3:30 a.m.
Yeah, see, I don't have to do that, and that's why I'm confused as to why you don't have time. I guess it's just a lack of empathy on both of our parts. I mean, I guess if I was in Orlando, I'd be doing that too. I mean, I live close enough to Orlando where it's just out of convenience, but it's a wall. It's like if I'm going there, I know that I'm away from my work, so I try to space it out. But yeah.
And I'm sure you make good use of your time when you are here because it's limited. So you end up doing like 16 different things at once when you're in town instead of just enjoying the parks.
Yeah, I mean, we do. It's fun. I have a really great time. I don't have a Universal Studios pass though, annual pass. So
I thought
was that one of your questions?
I thought you loved the Universal. I
do really like Universal. I just don't go a lot.
Yeah.
I have it's more of the like I could get 4, I'm not going to be able to go to do Universal because I have such limited time in Orlando when I do go. So I usually try to wait for like Halloween Horror Nights or whenever I have a friend that has tickets or something. So, but always a pleasure at Universal, despite misquotes and despite what Twitter thinks. I don't hate Universal. I don't know. I become sort of this weird, and I don't even know if this is anywhere you want to go with this podcast, but on I guess I can defend I'll just use this platform to defend myself. Twitter, if you're listening, I don't
All of
know.
Twitter listens
All
to
of
this
Twitter,
podcast.
yeah, they really care about this. I don't know why people think all of a sudden that I am like the anti-Universal Disney fanboy, because have you seen my show? Like,
Yeah.
I talk about Disney more than Universal, but I don't talk positively about Disney like
No.
ever really. Besides like the Imagineers and the rides they create. What? It's just this weird thing where like I made a few comments on Hagrid's, and then well, I think it's not just me. I think I'm just noticing it from my perspective, because there's like this, as soon as Galaxy's Edge and Hagrid's hit at the same
Oh,
time,
it became a war.
it became like
You had to pick
literally
a side. We're at
everyone
war.
picked a side. It was
Yeah.
so crazy. And I'm at the perspective of, I would love for both of these things to fail so hard, because that would be really great for my business.
Oh, that's a very good point.
Yeah. No, but and also I just find it more interesting when things go wrong, because then people have to adjust. I mean, when things go right and like the PR does its job, it's boring. It's just so, we need more wackiness. So, I mean, when Hagrid's was going terribly 10 minutes ago and 2 weeks ago, I was really happy, because I was just like, this is weird. This is crazy. This is going to be a good story. But everyone was free. You couldn't enjoy it because you have this huge fan base
Yeah.
that refuses to acknowledge that there's a problem. It's not even just like, oh, yeah, it sucks, but hey, the ride's really great.
Well,
It's like there is no issue.
I tweeted about how I thought Smuggler's Run wasn't as good as it probably could have been, and like it gets a billion retweets. I wrote a really long, in-depth article about all the problems Hagrid is having, and no one liked it or retweeted it at all. And it shows you who follows me on Twitter that like
Right.
didn't acknowledge the fact that there was problems with the Hagrid ride.
Right, and it's just weird, because I do it constantly in retrospect, on the show, where I talk about, Universal Studios opening day went great, but not really, because like every ride shut down, every single one, and Jaws, they had to shut down and redo the whole thing.
But then
If that
instantly someone would be like, "But at Disneyland, nothing worked when it first opened, and the pavement hadn't dried
right,
yet."
exactly, and
Like,
yeah, and well, if I just imagine if the Jaws ride happened today, which it might,
oh
because I'm
no.
not sure about Hagrid's, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure they're just working out kinks. I'm sure that having half of your train lifted above the other half is not going to ruin any of the track in any way. I'm sure that'd be ridiculous for me to even insinuate. There's no way that's going to happen, right, Alicia?
No comment. Jaws never worked, not for a single day, for the months that it was open until they closed it for 3 years. So this is still already
There
doing
were a
better
few
than Jaws.
times it worked, because that was the one where it bit the boat and it like
Yeah,
threw
yeah.
you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and then it
But
blew up, and chunks of shark flew into the
and
air.
ducks.
Yeah.
And if that were to happen today, oh right, yeah, and ducks. I forgot about that.
Oh, poor duckies.
Was that a Defunctland episode? Oh my
I think
gosh,
it might have
my
been actually.
old show. But yeah, that was I love, because if that would have happened today, Twitter would have been, and if I would have tweeted like "LOL, Jaws is down," someone would have been like, "You were such a Disney fanboy." And I'm like, no, it's literally blowing up. Like ducks are dying. Like, no, they're not. I love Jaws. I'm like, whoa. And it's just like, why? Because I'm not from the perspective, because a lot of people are like, just add positivity to the world, just be happy, just be fun. And I'm not really all about that. I'm more of, I like to equally acknowledge when things go wrong, because it's a lot of fun to make fun of. It's
Yeah.
it's an equal opportunity. Once you say like this park is off limits for humor, like this is my park, I'm like, well then then you probably should unfollow me. But man, people think I am a Disney
Well,
shill, which is hilarious, because have you
okay.
seen my show?
So, as a Disney shill, real quick, I wanted to acknowledge that we do know and we have seen that Jurassic World the ride has soft opened, and we'll do a whole show about it when it officially opens. But what are your guys' initial thoughts on this?
Oh, you go ahead.
I don't care. I've said that about literally everything that's happened, because I just don't care. I mean, I never really cared about Jurassic Park the ride. I don't care about Jurassic World the ride, certainly. I just, whenever, I've only been to Universal Studios Hollywood once, I will say that. And when I was there, it was a very hot day, and people were getting drenched on that ride. And so I just decided not to ride it. So I have not ever ridden, I never had the chance to ride the original
Mhm.
Jurassic Park the ride in Hollywood. That said, I don't care. It's fine. It's whatever. I will say, and this is my only real thing, is people get really impressed really easily now. Like it's just and it's fine. It's great because these people working on these rides are really genius people, and they make things look really easy. It is really thundering where I am. Can you
Oh,
hear
yeah.
that?
Yeah, yeah.
It is. It's like I'm like in a rainstorm right now. Um, and these people are really genius people, so I get that. But also, people are just really impressed by things we've seen remixed. It's and that's why with Hagrid's, there's some impressive parts of Hagrid's, but we were talking about this before the podcast. It's is it Verbolten in
Mm-hmm.
Busch Gardens? It's
Mm-hmm.
that, but more, or that, but different, or that, but instead of right, it turns left. And then with the Jurassic World screens, and I could be wrong, it's just the same, like because everyone's talking about that tank scene, right?
But
You're in the
mostly,
tank.
yeah.
Have we not seen that before? This is just a remixed version of it.
Personally, I I think pretty much anything would have been better than Broken Necks. Which, by the way, I have no emotional attachment to ultrasaurs in the lagoon that are bright yellow because absolutely no Jurassic Park film ever featured yellow ultrasaurs in a lagoon. So I don't care at all. Maybe if it was a brachiosaur walking and like had majestic music playing that looked like the movie, I'd be like, oh, I can't believe they got rid of the scene that looked just like the movie. But compared to that, I think the screens actually look really good. Yeah, they've done screens before. I think this
Right.
has a really high frame rate, so in real life it looks more real than it does on video, like really high
Okay.
frame rate.
And that's what
So
and that's where because I've seen POVs of Hagrid. I have not had the chance to ride it myself yet. And I see it and I say that looks like a fun ride. I don't understand why people are saying this is the next groundbreaking thing, but I haven't ridden it. I'm sure I'm seeing a very limited view of it.
well, it's
But
just fun. You can't feel it in the video. It's
right,
very
exactly.
fun.
And
I
that
wouldn't
that's
call
what,
it like game changing so much as I would say, oh, thank God, it's not a screen based ride. It's
and
actual
well,
visceral experience.
and that's interesting because we and this is going to make me sound like a Disney shill. So buckle up. But everyone kind of craps on. I'm looking at Twitter. Okay, I'm not a Facebook guy. I run my
Yeah,
Facebook page, but I'm sure that's a totally different crowd. But from Twitter, the things I see are Universal is changing the game with Hagrid, with
maybe their own game.
their own game.
Ah,
Um, and then I see Smuggler's Run is not that impressive, which is funny because to me, Smuggler's Run is more technically impressive. Like
yeah.
that,
When you think of the turntables and the way that it all lines up, and it's the load unload thing, so you're not always loading. Like you don't see, it's like an omnimover without an omnimover.
and
That's what they
not
called it
only
in
that, but
the
the fact
patents.
that you're in a motion simulator ride that is rendering real time, and you can also interact with it. It's sure you could say it's a video game, but they just didn't have that tech lying around. Like, oh, let's just
No, no.
put the video
I mean,
because I know some of the
but
people that worked on
Kevin,
it, and
Star Tours technically renders in real time also because it's picking and choosing the experience as it
that's
goes.
not the same thing.
But it is rendering the pre-rendered videos into one rendered thing all at
I think
once.
technically one is. I think
What
technically
did
one
you
is more
know?
impressive, but I haven't ridden either. So personally, I can't even tell you the fun scale on either one of them.
Right. I think that's what it is. It comes
So,
down to fun scale for the universal people anyway. They think, well, this is more fun, therefore it changes
but
the
I
game.
agree with Kevin though. One is
Right,
definitely more interesting technically and like pulling it all off.
right. I'm not even talking about the ride itself because I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I can't judge a coaster before I've been on it. I don't know how it feels. Um,
Yeah.
but I just as far as game changing, I don't know because I could Universal, as you've discussed multiple times on your various platforms, is getting a Nintendo Land,
Yeah, a Nintendo World, a very super Nintendo World.
a Super Nintendo World. Wouldn't it suit them? Holy moly!
Oh my god.
Are the birds
I
singing
mean,
now? Is that the part we're at, or the drumming? Has the drum started?
this is so the ducks are exploding outside. I've rigged jaws. Um, Geez, what was I saying? Wouldn't it suit, like, because wouldn't it be interesting for a land based on video games for you to be able to combine a video game with a ride. And I'm wondering when they do that, if they do that, is that going to be
Ironically, Universal's going real experiences and not screen-based attractions for the one
for the
thing that
one thing that would have made
probably could
sense?
have been a screen-based attraction. Yeah.
Right. But no, I mean, overall, so sorry, I totally got off your point of Jurassic World.
Oh, that's fine.
But yeah, I mean, I saw it, and it's all my experiences. It's like with Stranger Things. It's
No spoilers.
no spoilers. I just watched season 3. By the way, if they would have mentioned Epcot, we could have saved it. Because everyone would have been nostalgia heavy for old Epcot. But
That's season 4, the whole
yeah,
thing.
they'd have to rebuild Horizons, and anyways, that whole
They brought back New Coke, right?
New Coke. Oh my gosh, there's like a 45-second ad for New Coke. It's ridiculous. Anyways,
Thanks to that last episode, I gotta watch a movie now.
Oh yeah. Okay, but yeah, backing up.
No spoilers.
So Stranger Things is one of those things where it is good. It's a good show with good characters, and it's fun. But I think it's ruined for me by seeing people that are really impressed with it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's one
Overly impressed. And you know what? Most of the people that are commenting on Hagrid are saying these things 30 seconds after getting off the ride. They're on a high and they can't be held responsible for how much fun they just had. They're going to say stupid stuff like this is the greatest thing that's ever happened in the world.
They're just looking at POVs, like if the Jurassic World soft open.
Oh, okay. I'm getting a lot of negativity. I'm hearing all people like, how could you get rid of the Ultra Stores? That was such an iconic moment from the ride. And I'm like,
that's so weird.
Yeah, you can see the parking garage in the background.
See, I see the exact opposite. I see people saying, "Oh, well, watch out! Disney Universal's got 2 and you got 0 now." Like they got 2. It's so weird how we're in the exact opposite circles. Because I saw you tweet something like, "Man, this ride's getting a lot of like hate or whatever," and I was like,
Yeah.
"From who?" All I see are people saying like, "Disney's done, Universal's back, or Universal's here." Like, they never. Anyways, but
it doesn't have to be I said earlier, it doesn't have to be tit for tat. They can just coexist and both be fun. I don't know why it has to be a contest.
I like both parks, but
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
just saying Fast and Furious. I'm just saying.
What's that?
Right.
I said I'm just saying Fast and Furious. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
like
for every Fast and Furious, you have a dinorama though. It's fine. It's funny that these things exist. Like
I like dinorama.
Dinorama's also kind of been around, even though I get what your point is. But Fast and Furious should have been. It's new. It should have been fun.
Well, I mean,
it was new at the time.
In 2002, Dinorama was still very much a phone-in.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, no, it's just weird. It's also not that serious. People get mad. No. So that's all to say. Twitter, stop yelling at me. I'm just having fun. Maybe I deserve it, but I don't want it. I don't want to fight.
I think I had like 2 tweets in the last 6 months that were serious. Most of the time I'm kind of in between, like just making fun of, I'm just, I'm having fun and making fun and not being 100% serious. And some people take it a little too far.
Some people are serious. There's levels. Because I like Disney, but there are some people that like Disney. Which is fine. I don't want to.
Is that a line from The Truth About Cats and Dogs? It's like, listen, folks, we can love our pets, but we can't love our pets.
Yeah, that's but it's, and I don't want to look down on anybody's enjoyment. I mean, heck, mine is weird. I like old theme park rides. That's weird to a lot of people. I also think it's weird that anybody likes sports as much as they do, but that's not. I don't care.
To each their own.
To each their own. But all that's to say is some people really like Disney. I'm humbled by my enjoyment. And then I realize that some people really like Universal. And then I realize that there's also some people that just really like Harry Potter that don't even care about the rest of Universal. And in the same way, there's a lot of people that really like Star Wars that just don't care about the rest of Disney.
So you, to go into our first question, why'd you decide to make your first Defunctland episode? Why defunct theme park attractions? Because you kind of said you like old rides. Why do you like old rides like that?
That was a good segue.
Thank you.
The thing you said, that's related to my first question. Yeah, I don't know. I've answered this question before. I forget how to answer it. Someone needs to get a supercut of every time I've answered this question, how different it is.
Well, wait, let me rephrase it
Okay.
then. Did you create your YouTube channel first and then decide one of your videos was going to be about Defunctland, and that was like one aspect of a larger thing you were going to be doing?
Yes. Do you know about this, or are you just asking?
I followed you since your first video, so I just assumed that the purge.com
Oh
was going
yeah,
to be
so
much more than just
Purge.com.
Defunctland.
Let me tell you. This is going back.
You didn't know I was your biggest super fan?
um, yeah, the Purge.com was a site where I basically, where I held all my projects. And it was a bunch of different stuff. So some of it was, I think some of it was a little bit political satire.
Mhm.
Some of it was, well, one thing I did before Defunctland was I made a full a 1-to-1 parody of the musical Hamilton called Carver, about George Washington Carver, the guy that did not invent peanut butter.
Right.
And so that was fun. And I got like 30 minutes into Hamilton, and like I think instead of Aaron Burr, there was a flight of stairs instead of Aaron Burr, because George Washington Carver died by falling down a flight of stairs. Um, and I think instead of Aaron Burr, Sir, it was flight of stairs there. It was a really high concept thing. And for some reason that never took off.
Yeah, that's weird.
But I know, right? And so, but I had this musical, and another thing I was doing was I was writing, I was rewriting the Phantom Menace, because there was this really popular video that I used to really like from Belated Media, which I don't know if he still
Yes.
uploads.
No. He talks. I follow him on Facebook, but he does very rarely his own videos. He works in other videos, I think.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, that was a great video series. How to fix Star
how to
Wars.
fix, and so it was how to make Star Wars Episode 1 good, and mine was how to make Star Wars Episode 1 worse. And so I like came up with a set of rules where I said, change all of Obi-Wan Kenobi's lines to sure thing, Chief. And it worked. And then change like I think it was Mace Windu to Taco Bell's new fiery Doritos Locos Taco. Like, and it just, and so every time someone said Mace Windu, I mean, again, it was just a series of rules. Oh, it's
So is this like an article, like an expose type thing, or is this a video? This isn't a video,
no, this is
right?
an article.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So I was doing some of the stuff I did as I started the YouTube channel with the website The Purge, and oh, this is funny. And then another thing in the Star Wars Episode 1 worse was you make me a offensively stereotypical housewife, Anakin's mom. So like she just comes into the scene and says, I love cooking for my boys, and it's just like so bad. Anyway, so then what I did is I had a movie, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, but worse. I had a musical, Carver, and then I wanted a theme park to complete the trifecta of entertainment. And so in order to build a theme park, I was too lazy. So what I was going to do was I was going to go steal remnants from defunct rides, rebuild them into a new theme park.
Right.
That was the framing device.
Right.
I was
and
for you real fans, I am actually still going to do it. It's not a framing device. Don't listen to me what I'm about to say next, but it's a framing device.
But for background / context on this series, please visit thepurge.com.
Yeah. It was a different time. And so it was one of those things where, so I think a lot of people, and this is either going to sound arrogant or sad. I'm not sure. But people said like, wow, you've improved so much over the years. I'm like, well, no, I've always had the video editing skills. I didn't develop them in the past 2 years. I just decided to care a bit more when people started watching. And so it wasn't like I was like, oh my gosh, all these people are watching. Let me go to video editing school. I'd always been making films. I still am on the side. And that are not Defunctland related, and I've been making them for a long, long time. And then I started this as a fun side project / just I was a Wikipedia addict. I loved Defunct Rides. I loved Bright Sun Films. He stopped doing Disney stuff. I thought that was bad, but I mean, he definitely made the right call.
So you filled a void at the time that you
I
felt.
was filling a different void because his was all about abandoned stuff.
Yeah.
And so
Which
mine was
amazing.
yeah. There was a void. Yes, you're right. And so yeah,
But
that's how it started.
so my next question is why the decision to make the series more unique with defined styles and completely different intros and new music for every episode? Like, when did it click that like you're gonna stop saying for background/context on this series, please visit thepurger.com and start actually doing like you hired people to do music for some of them, like write a song for the weird, was it Alaska?
Yeah,
The
Disaster Transport. Welcome to
that
Alaska.
song is amazing.
Oh,
Amazing.
Yeah, that was actually a good friend of mine. He also, that same person, Disaster Dave, also Samir
Mhm.
Val is his music name. He also did the intro for Defunct TV's Muppets.
Oh, I love that. Love that.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that having
He
all
wrote the
three
Muppet
themes
Show
in
theme.
it, and so
Um,
yeah, why the decision to go with a more unique? Why did you started to care because it took off, or
so the Superstar Limo episode was the first, or maybe Back to the Future. I know Back to the Future was the turning point because I said I'm going to stop. I'm going to figure out how to use my microphone correctly. Because
that's step one.
the voice mod days. What I was doing was I wasn't necessarily taking the voice down as much as I was. Well, yes, in effect, I was taking my voice down. What I thought I was doing was I thought I was bringing it back to normal. I have a lot of speaking experience, like oration, but I have no voiceover experience, which is a lot different. As I've learned and have had people yell at me for the past 2 years about. And that I had to develop and learn that. So I think Back to the Future was the time where I was like, people are saying stop with the
Yeah.
voice mod. And it took me a while to realize that, like, okay, I'm not pitching this down to make me sound lower. I'm pitching it down to make me sound like I think I sound, but it's really my way of speaking. Because if you put them side by side, I think nowadays you'll notice that what I thought was correct is now how I actually speak. I was just speaking wrongly into the microphone. Like I was projecting. It was completely wrong. So I fixed it. And then after that, I just started to improve things. I started to phase out the style that I started with because I thought it was limiting. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I make documentary films on the side. And I don't, and I realized, well, these are really interesting documentary topics, but this format is making them like YouTube documentaries. And I wanted to be considered documentaries, period. So after season 1 was finished, I said, I'm going to finish season 1 in this style. I think I phased out around the Action Park episodes when things took a change in style completely, which was a good decision because that one went huge.
You gotta
and
go to
after
Action
that,
Park. There's no other park like it.
there's no other park like it. In that cutaway when a little girl like flies off the Tarzan swing. But yeah, so that was around that time, and then eventually, with season 2, I thought, because I think I started doing unique intros around. Action Park might have been the first, or I was doing a certain style. So like Body Wars and Action Park, it was like this. I thought I was trying this new style, and I was like, well, that's kind of boring. And then eventually, after season 1 ended, I took like 2 months off, and I kind of tried to develop some new ideas of, well, one of my favorite TV shows is Community, and they do a lot of not parodies but homages. I think
Stylized episodes,
and I think that works even better for this because I think it's a great storytelling device. That's a lot of what documentaries are. Is it's real life with a framing device.
Wait a minute. Didn't you used to have snarky words on the bottom of the screen in the first season?
Yes, I got rid of the snarky comments because I thought
I liked the snarky comments.
Right.
They fit the first season very well, but I couldn't imagine them now in the new style.
Can you imagine? Like when I'm talking about the purpose of creativity and the clash with business at the bottom, saying like, look at his forehead. Like, yeah, it was just a little too lowbrow for me. I think they worked because it was the Stephen Colbert, The Word.
Yes.
That was I think this is the first time I've ever openly said this, but if you didn't pick up on it, Stephen Colbert used to do on the Colbert Report, used to do this segment called The Word,
which was a spoof of a Fox News show.
O'Reilly Factor.
Right. But it was almost like the things he was saying were contradicted by the words on the screen, and it was an ongoing joke that he was at odds with his own words.
And that was kind of the idea of the commentary. is that I was being the serious narrator telling the story, and then on the bottom it was like some
Eisner jokes.
like jokes, right? There were some jokes. And then I realized that, you know, some of the stuff that I don't need that because it's going to be that was just another limiting. I mean, the voice work was limiting, the captions were limiting.
Yeah.
The
So you moved the Eisner jokes from the bottom of the screen into your actual voiceover.
into well, that's the thing is people really think that I make a lot of Eisner jokes in season 2, but I don't. I
No, I
really I
know.
don't. Oh, yeah, well, I know, you know, but a lot of people still, a lot of people do though. They think like, oh man, he's so hard on Eisner. I'm like, but where in the video did you catch that? Because, and I think that was what the greatest part about season 2 was. It was a total bait and switch.
And the book
Spoilers,
too.
and the book.
Well, we'll get to that later, but yeah, same thing.
You read the book? Oh, the you might have been you might have been one of my few friends that actually read, because Rob has it. Like Rob tweeted something the other day,
Mm-hmm.
like,
And if he had read the book, he would have known. Yeah,
he would have known. Like it was about sunny eclipse, and now he goes into the ceiling. He's like, I did not know this, and I was like, when your friends constantly prove they didn't read your book, it's got 200 pages with a bunch of beautiful illustrations. It's not
yeah. I
that
think
hard.
I learned that from your book. Actually, I didn't know that.
Thank you. I love to educate. It's more of a remix of material, and that's where with the I'll get into that later. But anyways, with season 2, you know, it was a bait and switch with the Eisner, you know, because I'd been so hard on the first season to give him a somewhat redemption arc, or more of a soft landing is a better way of calling it.
Well, yeah, by pointing out the differences between, hey, at least he took creative chances versus, you know, playing it safe and just buying every IP and then forcing it into every ride because it's already pre-existing. Like he made some really creative took some chances.
Yeah, and even when he did
give it
put
to him.
IPs into rides, it was just different. It wasn't
under new management.
Well,
it was definitely
yeah,
different.
it was different, but that's just it's so and now I am sure he wasn't at all involved in that project.
Well, Splash Mountain though, Splash Mountain is a good example of no way that would happen today, and it's one of the most beloved attractions of all time.
Exactly.
And it's named after his favorite mermaid movie.
Right. That he made. He didn't even make it. He came to the studio the year after it was released. He loved it. It was like a big hit. The biggest hit in a while.
I have to wonder, the fountain that was at MGM Studios, Disney's Hollywood Studios, from the scene where she brought the fountain into his apartment, the Mermaid Fountain do you think that's in like Eisner's apartment now? Because it's gone from the park. So I have to wonder. Yeah, it's been gone since they tore it down for Toy Story expansion.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know where it is.
I'm sure. No, the Eisner jokes were really fun, and they still are really fun. I think it's become a little too, and I'm not like the hipster. Like if it's mainstream, it's bad. I'm not that type
it's
of
just
person.
too easy. Let's just say
it's too easy.
It's like that's what she said jokes. It's almost too easy.
I know I'm not the first person to talk about Michael Eisner that way. I think might have been one of the reasons it's like that now. That those jokes are so prominent. Along with other people, I'm not taking credit for that. I'm definitely in the lawsuit. I'm going to be denying it wholeheartedly. Some people are not happy with the style change, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I think season 3 is going to be really different.
The next question is, why did you decide to split them into seasons? I guess, can I answer for you? Is it so that you can have a through line and a theme and kind of separate them? Is that the main reason?
No, it's to sell T-shirts, but yes. No, the reason is because I started counting episodes, and there's a couple reasons. One, I think it's one of the best marketing things you can do.
Create excitement
on YouTube. Create excitement between seasons. Holy moly! This is like ASMR. Should I just whisper into the microphone while the rains, so everyone can fall asleep to the smooth sounds of my ego? What was I saying? About the seasons. Yeah, so I split them in seasons. It's great because if someone clicks on Action Park because they remember that picture, that looping water slide, and they see episode 20, you know, 9 out of 10 people might say, okay, who cares? Let me watch the video I clicked on. But 1 out of 10 people are going to have that fear of missing out, which is the biggest thing that drives anything in the world all the time. And if you can tell someone that you just jumped in on episode 16, and they'll be like, well, what did I miss? Well, it's right here. I think that's a great way to get people engaged. Another reason is because with season 2, especially, season 2, the theme changed. There was 2 themes halfway through. It changed. No, I should say halfway through, I developed a second one. So the first theme was supposed to be international expansion.
Yeah, right.
Because not literally, I'm not like doing the whole, but it was about the international parks, and so I did Alton Towers, and I did, I think I had one in Australia, I had a few in Europe, I had a few in Asia, and then I had Nara Dreamland in Japan. So I had all of these. So that was the goal. And then about halfway through, I was like, well, this Eisner story, I kind of mapped it out because I wanted to tell the Eisner story, and I was like, well, this is actually perfect, and it's the same. It's actually
Euro Disney is a big climactic part of the Eisner story.
Exactly. And so I told the fall of Eisner. And that's why when people say, oh, you should do a video on the rise and fall of Michael Eisner, I'm like, well, I have
watched the whole season.
But I found that really interesting, and I don't see enough of this. I don't think I've ever really seen it before. I'm sure it exists. I know I didn't. I'm sure I didn't invent it. But it is a bit. It's a way of telling, because it's necessary for the internet age, in that you have to get people to click on videos individually, but you also want to tell a larger story. I can't just say Eisner 1, Eisner 2, Eisner 3. People won't click on 2, 3, or any of them really. But people will click on Disney's America because they might have heard about that, or they will click on Euro Disney. The failure of Euro Disney. I've never heard of Euro Disney. I didn't know it failed. Was it destroyed? It wasn't destroyed. This is clickbait. Screw you. That's usually how that goes. Or Disney Quest. I remember that. I was in Chicago and Disney Quest. So but you can tell
any of the episodes could be an entry point.
And so that was
collectively, they also tell a story.
Exactly. Thank you. That's a great way of pointing that, so I don't ramble on and say like 1,000 times. But with that, I realized, well, this could really tell a really great story, and so I mapped it out. I was like, well, it's going to end with Hong Kong Disneyland, and then I thought after season, like, because I've been planning to do I wanted to do a Defunct TV series, because Defunct TV, the first 5 episodes are just 90s stuff. Because 90s kids, a large part of my audience was born in late 80s or early 90s, or grew up in that time period. And so we did a bunch of that stuff. And then it also kind of was, with Between the Lions, it was just puppet shows.
What's funny is I was born in 81, still watched Between the Lions when it came on.
Great show.
I was still watching kids shows long after I probably shouldn't have been watching kids shows.
Well, did you have younger siblings?
No.
Okay,
I mean, 3 years younger, but this is when I'm living in my own apartment and I have my friends over and they're like, let's watch Between the Lions, you guys.
It's a crazy show. That's a great show for friends.
It had great guests too. So it was like really entertaining for 20 somethings.
Stuart was on it a bunch. So what was I going to say? But then I thought, well, this thing I did with Eisner, I want to do a bigger story, a more comprehensive story. And so I did the same thing with the Jim Henson series. And that was probably the biggest risk I've taken, besides just creating Defunct TV in general.
Jump into my second to last question.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well,
no, we can talk about it now.
No, I want to go in your order. I don't want to. This isn't. It's your show. Your show.
If you want to go in the order, the next question is: let's talk about some of your more popular videos. Like, just straight out the gate, why do you think the Nickelodeon Hotel episode does so well? I was gonna say did so well, but it still does so well.
It does well. Nickelodeon Hotel, that was a slam dunk the moment I realized I should do an episode on it. I'd actually been monitoring it. It's a very recent story.
It's weird because I live in Central Florida and it's like barely a blip on my radar. I drive by it going in and out of Disney all the time, and I'm like, oh, it's being changed into a Holiday Inn or whatever. I just don't care. But it's like the most interesting thing when you actually put it. So you thought it was going to be popular before you even made it.
Oh, I knew it was going to be popular.
That's crazy.
And I would like to say I didn't know it would be this popular, but I knew it would be very popular. I would have been disappointed if it would have not taken off in the way that it did. I think I saved it with the thumbnail eventually, because we actually changed the thumbnail. The first thumbnail was awful. That water tower. Here's another theme. I don't know why I'm doing this for you, Alicia, but here's another exclusive. That dunk tower on the thumbnail,
Mm-hmm.
the classic thumbnail, everybody's seen it.
Mm-hmm.
That dunk tower is not from the Nickelodeon Hotel at all.
You superimposed a fake one?
Yeah, it's not even orange.
Oh
We
my
colored it
goodness.
orange, and then we took the water and made it green, so it looked like slime.
Wow.
Because the original had too much stuff around it, so
Yeah.
we just wanted a clear sky. And I say we, I mean me and my summer employee last year, Heath. And so so the reason the Nickelodeon Hotel does so well is, one, it's Nickelodeon. People are hungry for Nickelodeon nostalgia,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but they're not. I don't think they're as hungry for Nickelodeon shows. They're hungry for the idea of Nickelodeon, because I think a lot of people have a fascination with the idea of, and they are hungry for Nickelodeon shows as well. But I think there's a large portion that just, so Disney has this culture. Disney has just everything. It's just this. It's just, when you think Disney, everyone thinks of something different. But whatever you could say, here's what I'm thinking of. And you'll be like, yep, that's Disney. And I think the same thing goes with Nickelodeon. It's just a little wackier, and it's
Like
more specific.
that weird alarm clock. When I
Yes.
think of Nickelodeon and how it makes me
Mhm.
feel when I was a kid, it's that Nickelodeon alarm clock that's weird and angled and had the squiggly top part. And it's like, that is the epitome of Nickelodeon in like
Exactly.
my childhood.
A lot of people would say that it's slime. A lot of people would say that it's the blimp.
Mm-hmm.
There's and so the Nickelodeon has its own branding, and I think the Nickelodeon Hotel is interesting because it was Nickelodeon's only real destination, and so there were a ton of commercials for it. I mean, on Nickelodeon. So if you watch Nickelodeon for the 10, 15 years, I don't even remember what it is. Maybe not even that many, that it was open. Well, actually 2005, I think it was around. So not even 10, 12, 13 years. That it was open. They were constantly pushing those ads out, but I don't think anybody really went, obviously, or not enough people went, because it was just so bizarre. And so you saw this place where, Nickelodeon, there's a giant slime bucket, and there's all the characters are there, and it's a hotel, and you can rent PlayStation games and play them in your room, and you can go into your room and SpongeBob is on the wall, and it was this very clear thing in the minds of an entire, generation. And for anyone that even just casually watched Nickelodeon, and Viacom also promoted the heck out of it too. So it was very well known. But I think to see the
But not
history
the
of the Nickelodeon,
story.
not the story. No one knew the story. No one knew why this existed, when it existed, how it existed. Is it gone? And then so that's there's a lot of things about that I just think really, really clicked. It was one of those that was also just super fun to do. Because it was different. It was a hotel, so I got to actually, because the way I tell stories with theme park rides is different than the way that I tell stories with Jim Henson, or different than the way that I
Mm-hmm.
even tell them with theme parks in general. So if I do Astro World was a full park, that story is going to be a lot different than than just one ride. Or Action Park is different because it's a water park, and also there's a lot of attractions to get through.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon Hotel's different because it's just a hotel, but they operated it like an amusement park. Um, and so I think the reason people click on it is because the thumbnail is very interesting. The history of the Nickelodeon Hotel is just great, and also the reason I knew it was going to do well is not just my own arrogance, is because there's a really great comparable with Bright Sun Films Nickelodeon Studios video.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 6 mil, I think, something.
Yeah.
So
Which I think
I
might have
mean,
been the first video I watched of his.
yeah, and so I knew there was going to be a ton of stuff on that, and I think it just worked out. I thought I was like, this is my next million view video. I didn't expect whatever it is at now,
So
but
things like that, Action Park, Superstar Limo, Chuck E. Cheese, which forever will be your legacy for that little moment turned into a GIF. Um,
yeah, that's actually a meme now. It's kind of cool.
what about the lesser popular videos though?
Okay, so there's some. So what I do is I try to do, and it's because I'm off season right now, so I'm doing the Jim Henson, so that's totally different. Um, but I try to do like one that's gonna do well, um, one that is just for the fans, and then one that is like a wild card. So, I would say that like one that is for the fans are like your disaster transports, I think even Worlds of Fun. I knew, or I thought also the Nara Dreamland kind of was half and half. Then another one was Wonderland Sydney. Those are things that fans of Defunctland, and from my view, are really going to like those episodes because they're not just, they've never been really covered before,
Mm-hmm.
or if they have, they want to see me cover them, and it's it's just different. It's also really heavily amusement parks. That's really, I mean, now that my audience is diversified, this is going to be harder to do with season 3. But it was just heavy on theme parks. Then I try to do one, but I also know those are not going to do well.
Right. They're
But
like
that's okay.
medium to low view counts, maybe, because everyone
Yeah,
that's your channel subscriber might watch it, but you might not get new entry from it.
Yeah, and those are not, definitely not gonna convert new entry. But that's fine because I want to split it up on, get new people, make sure that I'm
Mhm.
making content for people that were there first, because that's why it's popular in the first place. So, but those I never felt that a video has just outright failed except for one.
What's that?
Do you want to guess what it is?
No, because then if I say the wrong one, I'll
No, I'm
make you
not gonna be
sad.
offended. These are not sacred. What I do is silly. It's fine.
uh,
It's not failed in view count. It's failed in audience reaction.
oh,
Eastern Airlines.
oh, really?
Oh, I like that one.
Thank you. They didn't like,
Was that
because
the
I don't.
Disney airline thing?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. They said you talked about Disney for like a minute, and I was like, I don't know. I talked about it for a good chunk of it, and I told you why that airline failed. Which I understand that I never wanted to do another one anyways. I wasn't trying to expand into airlines. I mean, Jake's has his.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like a bankrupt episode or something. You're gonna.
And Jake actually helped out with it.
Oh,
So
okay.
because he knew so much about airlines, and I was like, I want to do this one. Are you planning to do this one? He's like, no. And I'm like, you're dumb. I'm going to do it. Apparently he was smart because whatever. So yeah, that one was one of those that I was like, that was a totally, I would have done it again. I think it's a good video.
I think it's
I'm
good for
not
telling the
ashamed.
bigger picture story of Disney too, to include it because of like it was the official airline, right? That's how it ties
Yeah,
together. I think it's an important part
Yeah.
of a bigger story, but also it's interesting on its own right. So,
And then the ride was tied to it too. So the whole thing.
right.
oh,
And
is that Delta
it,
Dream Flight or whatever? If you had wings
it
back in
was
the day,
Eastern Airlines was if you had
right? If you
wings,
had
if you could
wings,
fly.
Yep.
All those, and then Delta Dream Flight, then Dream Flight, then Take Flight,
right?
then
So
your
it's
space.
a lot of that's like half Disney right there on the episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So
airlines.
I don't know. People. It's fine that people don't like it. I'm not upset that people don't like it. What I get upset at it was when I try something new and people are rude about it.
How dare you? How dare you branch out?
How dare you try something new? And then that's when I say to them, they're like, they're like, this isn't why I subscribed. And I'm like, please unsubscribe. I'll say that to them. I'm like, please unsubscribe. If you cannot handle a new video that is not of your liking,
Oh, I'm
then I do not
sorry. Is my
want.
free content not
Yeah,
up to your
my free
standards?
content. And so and that's where it's difficult because I want to make everyone happy, but it's also the fact that I'm like, I can't have all these people that are expecting one thing
No, that's
always.
dangerous. If you ever watch those create YouTube creator channel things, and they always tell you that it's okay to grow with your channel, it's okay to expand, don't get pigeonholed, and don't try to listen to the fans because sometimes the fans don't know what they want until you give it to them. And
That's actually always been my argument, and that's actually an argument that I get into in the book, where it's people don't know what they want, and right now the Walt Disney Company is largely asking the fans what do they want, what do they
Mhm.
like, let's make that, instead of saying what would they like. They're saying what do they like,
You don't get
and that's what.
without innovation, stagnation gets boring anyway. But if you had stayed in
Yeah,
your original for background slash whatever, go to thepurge.com, eventually it would have all felt the same. So I'm so glad that you've expanded upon the series and stuff.
yeah, I'm very happy with where it is. I mean, and sometimes you need that, and I think Eastern Airlines was a good hit in the face because it's not a colorful thing. That's not something that they like. Some people were rude about it, and that's where I would push back on those responses. But other people said very politely,
Yeah.
this isn't really my thing." That's great. I need to know that because I'm not going to just start making content and barge into garages and demand people watch them.
What's funny is the people that'll be like, "This isn't what I subscribe for," aren't your earliest subscribers either. They probably came in the middle. So like
Right.
what there might have been someone early on who's like, "This isn't what I subscribe for." Bring back the Brad Pitt picture in the beginning.
That's actually a photo of me
Oh, sorry.
I've been told I look similar to a
Oh, see, I
wax
get
museum.
confused that
Yeah.
yeah, I always mix up
It's
you
like
and the
it's
wax Brad
almost
Pitt.
me. It's almost Brad Pitt. It's eerily
Mhm.
close, but also eerily
It's a
not
little
Brad Pitt.
shinier than Brad Pitt.
Yeah, yeah. I get that at the store all the time.
Yeah.
Are you
I
a wax museum doll, Brad Pitt? I'm like, I get that a lot. My name's Kevin Purger. It's okay.
No, I
um,
really like, seriously though, I really like the Eastern thing because I'm like all in on the theme park. So the more history and stories that tie into the parks is awesome for me.
And
So
that's yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's a because I agree with that. I think that kind of thing is so much more interesting to me at least than hearing another rehash of information we already know. And that's actually another totally different topic is like because there's a lot of channels that do what I do, um some that have popped up recently, some that have popped up before me, like with Yesterworld, who was there I think 2 months before, 6 months,
also big on the
I think.
Eisner jokes.
Right. And really good relations with all these people, but there's a limited amount of topics unless you expand.
Right. There's only so many
And even
history of Back to the Future, the ride videos you can watch before you realize they're all the same.
you know the history of Back to the Future, the ride, and that's where I think expansion is gradual is going to be the way that I think it's and everyone and I think that's another issue that could be really easily solved if everyone was always trying to expand. And I think Yesterworld just did a video on the history of the time is the Lion King and
Yeah, that was a
a
good one. That was a really interesting
yeah.
and totally different format video for him.
Yeah, and I think and stuff like that is where it's like, okay, this is sustainable. If everybody doesn't have to find everyone's eventually going to find their format and their style, but if everyone can kind of find where their paths where they can expand to, because this whole gold rush of what ride has not been talked about yet, is just not
Which
sustainable.
is why I like the Disney's America, because it's something that really hadn't been told completely yet, by
Right.
all
Well,
the other
and
channels.
that's a good example because Jake did a video on that. And he did a 12-minute Disney's America video, and it was based and he'll tell you he's not proud of that video. But it's a fine video. I don't know why he hates it so much, but we all hate our old videos.
I hate my new ones.
He Same. Um, he did like 12 minutes on it, and so I was like, "Well, I wanna do this topic. It's part of my story. I'm going to have to do it in a different way."
Oh,
And boy, did I ever,
yes, you
because it was
did.
like 35 minutes, and I watched like a 6-hour congressional hearing and blah, blah,
And
blah.
there's not a
Anyways.
single piece of video clip in it, right? It's all photographs
Yeah,
animated
it's all photos.
with zooms and
Because it's supposed to
stuff.
be a Ken Burns
Right,
parody.
right.
So we photoshopped a bunch of photos, we changed images to make them suit the style. It was a whole thing,
Yeah,
but I think it's I talked about it because July 4th was a few days ago. I re-shared it, and I was like, "This is still one of my favorite
well,
videos," because it's just
it's
I
my
have
favorite because I got a
you
part in it, you know?
yeah, you were in it. Who were you?
I don't know, some woman complaining about what Walt would have done, I think.
that never happens.
But yeah, so I think it's there's a lot of these channels, and I'm saying these channels when I could list them all because I'm friends with
It
all of
is a
them.
friendly
Uh,
community. I'm so glad that we all get along.
I think it's like a fight to get along
Yeah,
though.
it's a fight
'Cause-
to get all. Don't expose the underbelly of what's really going on.
no,
You could the whole thing could
it-
collapse like a house of cards if you actually let everyone
no, it's
know.
not because it's one of those. I mean, I think Dan should get the most credit of anybody because Disney Dan, is a silly, ridiculous person on Twitter, and he makes crazy, ridiculous videos. And but he really deserves the most credit for connecting
Yeah, he
people
has a big heart.
because he has a huge heart and he just wants to see this community be super happy, and he's done a great job. A good example is like I he introduced me to TPM personally, and that's really cool because now I'm friends with Dan from TPM, and I'm friends, and I formed my friendships independently with Mark and Jack from Yes Roll and Park Ride History respectively. But a lot of these connections of more of like this could have been a situation where it's the gold rush, so everyone's going to be competitive, but instead we can communicate a little bit, we
And it
can
helps us
plan a little
be
bit.
more respectful in what and how we choose to do our videos too. Like You already are talking about how you're trying not to be the same as other videos you've seen, but now that since we're all friends, we have to kind of edit ourselves to like, well, this person already did this, so I'll take a different angle on it because I don't want to
which
upset
is
my
yeah, which
friend.
is
It's a good place to be in, though.
absolutely. Well, that's how I did with Eastern Airlines because I had to reach out to Jake because I was like, "This is." I mean, he doesn't own airlines, but I mean,
It's more his
Jake,
wheelhouse.
you
It's
do.
what he
You're
does.
the only one that does this. And so that's really cool because it could have been much worse. It could have been every time someone uploads, we all get frustrated or angry or, oh, I was going to do that one but no, it's not. Even when I don't know I don't know what Mark's going to do next, and I see him
He
upload,
did
I'm like,
it.
that's great.
He did an Epcot one the week I'm writing an Epcot one. His came out, and I was like, well, I'm put that on a shelf for a while. It's like the spaceship
Or
Earth,
even,
and we had a lot of the same points, and I'm like, well, at least I was only halfway through the script.
and I think a good example of my because I do have that instinct. I think most people do, where they see that and they're like, "Dang it! Like he did it before me,"
Mhm.
or he got it, he took that. And so I was going to do a video on Horizons for season 2, which was in the trailer for season 2, but I didn't. One of the reasons is because it just didn't fit with the narrative. After all,
Mhm.
it was supposed to be about creativity, and it turned into creativity versus business. Um, but then I saw a video that was going to take pretty much my angle by Matthew Serrano. I don't know if you saw the Horizons documentary.
Yes. Yes, very much. Yeah, very.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, I think it's created a
and
whole new like all of a sudden Horizons is popular again, and it already was, but now it's like big back, and I think that little mini doc had a lot to do with that.
yeah, and so but that video's Jake did that video. I think Mark might have. And I don't know if Mark did it. I know Expedition did that video. I think I'm saying all this. Uh, Not really sure, but there's been a lot of Horizons videos, but that's a new angle, and so I saw that, and that was actually the same angle I was going to take with Hoot and
Right,
Chief,
right.
and so I
Because
saw
that's an
that, and
interesting story about people,
right,
real interesting people,
um,
and the backdrop is the ride, being open and then closing and then being open and then closing again. So it's like it tells the story of the ride, but it also is more about the characters of these real people.
right, which is I mean, and Matt did a great job, and so but part of me before would have been like, dang it, he did it good. It's over. Defunctland, it's done. They're gonna demand all these style documentaries. But instead, maybe it's because of Dan, maybe it's just because, that's just what we've been able to do. Really pat ourselves on the back right now. But um is I saw that and I was like, I gotta get this kid to make a documentary for me, and I'm gonna fund it, and he's gonna be able to do so much more with my channel. And I was like, dude, like you made a great documentary, you got great views, but no one's subscribing. Like you have to come on me. I have subscribers. I can guarantee a certain view count for your next film. And so for the past 6 months, Matt's been working on a documentary for Defunctland, and it's incredible. It's amazing. I can't really talk about it that
What's it
much.
about?
Can't tell you yet. We're gonna announce it soon.
Okay.
But it's one of those. It's just he did it differently. I like the Horizon stock. This is better.
And not
This
just
is
because
better,
you're a
and
producer on it.
it's because I'm a producer on
Oh,
it.
okay. Oh.
um, no. It's so good, and I really want to. I'd love to talk about it sometime. I can't wait till he's just a very hardworking person. But
When are
anyways,
we gonna?
that's
When's the
all to say.
trailer gonna drop? Just
I don't know yet. I told him to make it. I want it to drop towards the end of July,
okay. Okay.
hopefully.
No, that's all I needed to hear. That's good
Um,
enough. I just want
but
to know
yeah,
if it's
he's
gonna be
but
soon.
right. That's all. But that's all to say that I'm just so happy to be a part of this little creator community we got going on. Even with even with the similar not format, similar
Well,
topics.
okay.
It's a very niche thing.
And speaking of niche thing, because we will zoom through a couple of them because we touched on the next questions anyway. But why do you think
Okay.
people love old rides, and including people who are young who've never even been on rides like Horizons? What's with the cult like fascination with a ride you've never even been on? Like I have people
FOMO.
on, yeah, exactly.
It's
People on
FOMO.
Twitter always like, bring back Horizons. It's the best ride you've ever done. And then someone will ask, have you ever been on Horizons? Like, no, I wasn't born when it closed. It's like, then why? Why do you care?
It's fear of missing out. Things are what's that saying? Things look better through the eyes of things rose-colored glasses.
These bifocals I invented are not may not be
What
rose.
is it?
Man.
What is it? Things look better through
The rear view mirror.
There's a thing.
I think we're mixing metaphors, but I like
No.
it.
What is it? Oh my gosh, what is it?
The grass is always greener? No, that's not right.
Okay, here we go. Okay, it's through rose-colored glasses. Yeah. It's the same thing. Everything looks better through a camcorder from 1987.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, that's the new one. Everybody needs to use that one instead.
Oh, that's good.
It's so part of it's fear of missing out. Same reason why if I tell you it's episode 16, you're going to go back and watch episode 1 if you're that type of person who wants to be comprehensive. And I am. And that's why I think I can deliver that, because I don't think anybody's curious. I don't think Defunctland episodes ask more questions than they answer by any means. We usually are pretty start to finish with the stories, unless there's a to be continued or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
you
I think
tease
it's
Disney
that...
Quest 3 times in a row, and people are like, "Come on, when's it gonna come?"
Because I thought the other episodes were more interesting. I thought the Disney Regional Entertainment was a story that just no one knew about. I didn't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that weren't Disney Quest. So that's all to say that I think it's fear missing out. I think people are upset at the way attractions are heading right now, in general, and I don't blame them. I think, but at the same time, things are better than you remember.
Yeah.
Or things are worse than you remember, or they're better to remember than they are to actually be on.
I think if things like Horizons, World of Motion, the original Imagination, if they were open today, they'd be one and done for a lot of people, because they would get off and go, "Man, that was boring." Like, the reality is, it just wouldn't work in today's culture.
I think Spaceship Earth is a good example, because I ride that and it's fine, and it's a good ride. It's an amazing. Blah 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 blah. You know, don't hate me on Twitter.
I just said Horizons wouldn't work today, so I'm gonna get all the hate.
I think Horizons is one of those. It's just the idea of it is so beautiful that it's hard, and the idea of Journey to Imagination is just so touching and so powerful that is missing from the rides that replaced it.
Yeah.
And so that is annoying. And so there's a lot of different things. It's also just, nostalgia is great. We are a culture that is constantly looking. This is actually what season 3 is about. We are a culture we are a culture that right now in the moment is fascinated with looking back. In 1982, we were a culture fascinated with looking forward.
Oh, good point.
It's completely flipped.
That's why Stranger Things is so successful, and why it in theaters is like the biggest horror movie.
Everything is, do you remember? Which is great for me, because that's what I do. But hope that doesn't go away. But we back in the day, everyone was fascinated with the future. What's going to be in the future? But now we're here.
And the future looks bleak, so we're looking back.
The future looks worse every day, and so it's that idea of like, well, ridiculous optimism, is almost laughable to some people. I don't agree. And so it doesn't jive. I think that's part of it. So we love nostalgia, fear missing out. It's a lot, and some of these rides truly were incredible rides, and some of these parks were incredible parks. If you have memories on these rides, it's just incredible, because I think these videos, whether I do them or Mark does them, it's not exclusive, or Jack, it's not exclusive, or Sam, it's not exclusive to any one of us. We bring them back to life for those 15 minutes that we talk about.
I mean, I remember being a kid and in the middle of Horizon seeing the people floating in 0G and thinking it was magic. So there is moments in my memory that like enshrined that ride, imagination, other things. The original ending to Spaceship Earth with AT&T sponsorship is like magic to me. But if it was around now, I don't know if it's just that was a time when I was a kid and things were magic. So it will always be remembered fondly.
Right. And these parks are for kids. People, the movies, like Pixar movies, they're for families. The parks are for families, but a lot of the parks now are for kids. And that's the difference. Is we also, I think there's a lot of fascination, and then this will be the last answer. I have a lot of answers to that question, but my last one is in the 80s and 90s, and it's a lot due to Michael Eisner. Those parks were supposed to be tailored toward adults. That was the goal. it was teens and adults.
Yeah, we got our
And we got
aliens and
kids
alien
down.
encounters and our
Right. Let's figure out how to do
dance
that. And
party
that's
that's
completely
actually
changed.
an adult dance party.
Exactly. It's completely changed, and not only has it completely changed, but it's completely gone. Pleasure Island is gone. Extraterrestrial's gone. The only real thing is still Star Tours and Indiana Jones. And so, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is an example where I think that's going to appeal to adults if they deliver on those promises they made, on what they were going to do. But
It's got a bar,
I
so even in Disneyland,
yeah,
it's got a bar. So
I
they're doing the adult thing at least a little more than they had been the last decade.
yeah, but I think that's another fascination of the time that I have talked about so far. I've done a lot in the 80s and 90s. Season 3, we're going to go back a few years. It's going to be fun. I hope people like it. People won't, but I hope they do.
You're going to talk about the Wizard of Bras?
Ah,
I already did. Disneyland Top 10.
Yeah, I know.
Do you want me to do the voice? Check out the Wizard of Bras.
No.
Okay, that's
No.
I got a better microphone to do it with too, so I can
Mhm.
get real close.
hmm.
Do it the Nick at Night suite. Shower for two, baby. Okay, that's it. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we've been talking for a while, so now the answers have to get faster. But why'd you write a
That's
book?
fine. It's good to expand into multimedia as soon as possible. I really wanted to write a book. It's people. I think people do not expect the book to be what it is.
Amazing, with the best last 3 chapters of any book ever.
Thank you, Alicia.
It just took me so off guard by the end. It was so good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, when I do a adventure action film in second person.
Yeah,
Um,
it literally turns into a romp. Just out of nowhere, I'm on an adventure. Like, it's a guidebook for the first third, and then it somewhere in there it becomes an adventure.
Yeah, you just take one wrong turn. And so yeah, I think the book was. I really wanted to write it. I wanted to write a book. It was one of my lifelong goals. I had the platform. I had the idea. People expect it to be a history of the Magic Kingdom, but it's not called History to the Magic Kingdom. It's a guide to the Magic Kingdom. It is a parody of theme park guides,
Like the unofficial guide
and
series and things.
yeah, which is great. But I think that a parody of that is very funny too. And so to have the idea that I'm taking you around the parks, but really I'm doing it the way I want to.
Yeah, don't go
and
over
you're not
there because
riding
it's not fun. Go over here.
Yeah, we're not going to go ride Big Thunder because it's better in Disneyland. Let's go over to this. Let's ride Country Bears a second time, or just like, here's the bathrooms. These used to be the Skyway.
Yeah, there's some
all right, let's
asides that are history.
Right. No, well, it's supposed to be a comprehensive, extinct history, but it's not full history. I pretend to go into it, and also, even when I give you the history, it's not supposed to replace Defunctland episodes because that's what Defunctland episodes
supplemental, or just more of like,
Right.
it's more like we're touring the park with you, standing next to us, giving us little tidbits here or there, but also a touring guide saying, now go over here.
And that's what was so it was so fun to write and I think people have the best time, what I've heard, reading it when they're in the parks. Because I wrote it while I was in the parks pretty much, and you can actually, someone just like took it took a copy of the book to the parks, and they were like, yeah, it was so
you
cool
tell
'cause,
us
like, we would
too,
ride.
so we can we have to take
Right,
a picture
get a
with
picture
Pluto,
with
right?
Pluto.
Yeah.
Right, there's little cameras in the book, and I can see everything you're doing.
And we have to
and
call him a
so-
good boy. It's very important.
Yeah, you gotta tell him he's a good boy, and Kevin loves him very much.
I wonder how many people do that, and that Pluto's like, oh, here's another one.
I just want one. And so it was so fun to write. I think people really enjoyed it. I think now people that stumble upon it are more confused than when I was marketing it and I was actually, explaining what it was supposed to be. But I am proud of it. It's one of those things that I'm probably gonna have to do multiple editions of and just continually add and bulk up. Or just move on to another one if I ever write
that's my
another one.
follow-up question. Are you going to continue the theme park series and like guide to the Epcot or something?
Yeah, I would love to. I really want to do Guide to Epcot. That would probably be the next one.
Oh, look
I
at
just have
that.
too many balls juggling right
Well,
now.
I'd either say hurry or wait.
Right, exactly. That's another thing is it's gonna be real nice because I'm gonna find out in about 2 months if I can write a book or if it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, I guess I gotta wait to figure it out. So, but yeah, it was super fun to write. I like I said, really really proud of it. I also had a great team of people, so I can't really take credit for it. Ingram Jenkins did the art, the big chapter art, and then Andrew Benny did the smaller illustrations. And I think the art really adds. I think it's just a great like little art book.
It's a
It's a coffee
beautiful
table
coffee
book,
table book. Yeah, definitely. But it's
and we
also
got
a
it
fun
really
read.
well printed. Well, thank you. So yeah, that was the book. You're too nice to me for how snarky I am. Was that?
I'm your biggest fan. It's all coming out now.
Yeah, we've hung out like 5-6 times in person, and we've talked like
We've done a lot of
endless
projects.
hours
We've worked on projects
a
a lot.
lot of projects now. And yeah, it's just now coming out that you read the book. That's nice.
Yeah. Oh, I've actually mentioned it to you twice, but that's okay.
Well, yeah, but I didn't. Yeah, everyone says they've read it.
Oh.
No one has proved that they've actually read it. You know.
Well, yeah, we were tweeting back and forth when the theft of Buzzy happened. Because
Right. Yes, that was another time that I was like, yeah, nice, Alicia, because if you read the book,
it's very strange parallels there at the end of the book. Very strange.
Yeah. I deny wholeheartedly in court.
No, but that's one of those Eisner things that, just like the end of season 2, there's more of a redemption arc for Eisner in the book than anyone would expect.
Right, which is weird. And yeah, so spoilers, but he does show up in the book, and those are all quotes from him.
Yeah, that's what's amazing. I almost shed a tear, and I'm like, damn you, Kevin Purger, and your beautiful book.
Stealing words from Mike Eisner, and making you feel things about the things you love.
I want to stay angry at him.
Oh.
Okay, so moving on to the next one. Defunctland podcast. It's actually
coming back.
Okay, yeah, as I say, it's been on a hiatus, but what were some of you've interviewed some really interesting, talented people. So what was we don't have a lot of time, so what was like a thought or one of the people you interviewed that you thought was really interesting?
That's really hard. I mean, everyone is so great.
I can tell you my favorite was Knoll Macneil.
Knoll's not even a fair one to say though, because Knoll is just too great of a person. Like he's just I did nothing for that one because he's just so cool.
Yeah. But
so like, as far as my one that I've actually been like, ooh, I really think I did a good job in that interview. Because some of them are like discussion based, so like the Jenny Nicholson, Hank Green, all those I do with other fellow YouTubers or people that are. I like to interview people that aren't in the theme park sphere, like they just like.
Oh, that explains why you haven't had me on. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's my go-to excuse. And so I don't know. I think Tim Delaney. I'm just going to go with him. I also find it really interesting when I interview ex-employees rather than ex-Imagineers. So I did one for Club Disney. Mm-hmm. And I did one for the Nickelodeon Hotel.
Nickelodeon Hotel was a really good one too, because it gave us some insight into the later years of the hotel before it switched over.
And so yeah, I thought those were fun. I think I don't know. I think I need to get it going again, but also with the Jim Henson series, it's a little difficult. Tim Delaney though, he was like he should be regarded on the same level as Tony Baxter,
right?
And for whatever reason, he's not.
Well, it's like we have the Joe Rohdes of the world that everyone elevates to rock star level, but then it's great and he deserves it, but then there's other people that deserve it too that unfortunately don't make it to that level.
And there's a lot of Imagineers, but Tim Delaney was in charge of stuff, like a lot of stuff. I mean, like, he did The Living Seas, then he did Discoveryland, then he did it, and just to hear that and to hear his stories are just like, it's just a different set of eyes. It's literally going back in time and looking at that person through their eyes and seeing what they're seeing during the construction and destruction. It's just so cool.
It was fascinating, yeah.
And so that's all the interviews. All the interviews are great. So
well, what's great about your podcast is I think that they're timeless episodes, not like a news of the day. You can go back, like if you just watched an episode, like Big Bear in the Big Blue House or something on TV, Defunct TV, you could go and listen to that podcast episode right after, and it adds so much more to it.
Well, thank you. The podcast is one of those things where every year I have to like reinvent it to like just make myself more interested in it. And I think I finally found the format that works the best. But it's
you have visuals added, right?
I added some visuals to it, which it actually just added more to the workload.
Because I was about to say, this podcast we're doing right now isn't going to come out till Thursday, because that's how long it takes me to add visuals to everything we're talking about. So every time I bring up an episode of yours or whatever, I'm going to have to show images and clips and references.
You can just take the clip.
So it becomes a very lengthy process, but I ask people, like, what if I took away the visuals? They're like, yeah, but some people will listen to it in audio and then go watch it on video.
Well, what's going to be interesting about the podcasts that you do, because you do a lot of news of the day stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be fascinating. It's really great now because you're great. It's going to be completely irrelevant in 6 months, and then in
Like
10 years,
yeah.
it's going to be fascinating.
So it's a time capsule.
Yeah, absolutely, it is, and that's something we never really had before in this medium.
Which is why the nostalgia will die, is because we didn't have the documentation then that we do now.
Yeah, exactly. And no one's gonna miss all these rides that we like. I don't think there's gonna
people are gonna miss the empty hallways at Communicore because they're gonna tear them down. People will miss everything.
I miss the smell of asbestos already.
Oh God, those buildings are falling apart and there's nothing in them. What is wrong with people? You know what I miss?
Know, but
I miss Interventions when it actually had attractions. That's what I
will
miss.
say, and I'm sorry I'm taking so much of your podcast.
That's fine. We got 6 minutes before I start getting panicky.
Okay. I feel bad. I will say that there's a certain section of people that are making really bad arguments on Twitter about why Epcot should be saved. But there are also some people that are really enjoying its destruction and rubbing it in the face of those making bad arguments.
It's two opposite ends of the spectrum. My argument is I'm happy to see something being done with it because it's been abandoned for so long. The middle of Epcot, Future World.
And I'm on the side of the people that are making terrible arguments only because I can empathize with them. I don't agree with their arguments. They're bad arguments.
Reality is it's just something from your childhood or something you remember or something that reminds you of happy times, and that's fine.
And sure, and that's where that's, I think that I talk about this a lot in the book, but it's like, so Shawshank Redemption is your favorite movie of all time, or Ian, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, that's tough. Are you kidding me? We'll go with Shawshank because it's a good movie.
Okay, Shawshank.
We'll do it.
So what if Disney announced that, or whoever, I know Disney didn't do it, whoever the production company for Shawshank was, let's just say Paramount announces that they are going to add that Shawshank is now going to be rebooted with Tom Holland, and it's going to be a machine gun jail breakout, and they have already destroyed all of the other copies of Shawshank, and you will never be able to watch Shawshank Redemption in its original form ever again, and if you ever want to, you have to watch the new Tom Holland machine gun reboot. And you will never be able to put your eyes on, or even, the only way you can is a really shaky camcorder in a theater pointing itself towards Shawshank Redemption,
like the original Star Wars.
Yeah, I was going to say Star Wars. Lucas tried to do that, so
yeah, he literally tried
but
to.
We have the despecialized editions, so that's okay. But yeah, it's like that. It's that idea that, it's very hard to destroy that type of media, and it sounds ridiculous saying, yeah, right, they're going to destroy all of Shawshank Redemption. But that is what it is with Epcot and all these theme parks. Is when a ride closes, let's get out the hammer and it's gone, and that's your memories, that's the experience. You're never allowed to do. You can pay $1 billion, and unless you rebuild it yourself, you're never going to be able to experience that art again.
Well, I could argue that maybe it's nice to experience different art throughout your life and not necessarily just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Club Cool can only be fun so many times. Maybe
I would agree with you.
We move on.
But just because we have brilliant painters today doesn't mean that we should set fire to the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, well, that's why theme parks is the most interesting art, because it is ever evolving. You can't ride the Pirates of the Caribbean ride in its original form. Well, that's not true. No, they just changed that one scene in Paris. So, like,
there's a ton of differences still from the original. Right? Paris?
Yeah. I've seen the ride change, 6-7 times in my lifetime, and it's interesting because it's like the same ride, but it's not.
And for me, it's not
adding walkie-talkies to ET, instead of taking away the guns.
For me, and I think the ET that's a funny one, but it doesn't change the point of it. And I think that's
What about adding animated eyes to ET for the entire movie? That takes me out a little bit. That
okay. Well,
changes
if it
my
takes you out of
childhood.
the movie, sure.
Yeah.
Nothing ruins my childhood. It's more of, I understand that these
No,
parks
you
cannot.
literally ruined my childhood. That's what people say.
You literally ruined my childhood.
Yeah.
You went back in
Indiana Jones
time
4 ruined my childhood.
and
Well,
yeah, it's
the dumb thing about making that
what?
argument with a movie though is that you can always go back and watch it. So
Right, exactly. Is even if Beauty and the Beast, the new one, is awful. We all know that. We all agree. It's fine. We don't have to all go one by one.
I kind of like the new
Yeah,
song a little
it's a
bit.
yeah,
terrible
I don't
movie,
like it.
Alicia. Um,
It
uh,
is awful.
it's a bad movie, but at least you can still go watch the original Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, but all I'm
And
going to think about is how they tried to fix all the loopholes. I won't be able to get out of my mind that the townspeople were brainwashed.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, don't bring up the
Anyway,
recent one.
So-
Let's not bring up the recent one.
Let's talk about.
trying to make an argument. Anyway, point being, they can't be a museum. It's difficult. It's a contradiction. It's hypocritical. But at least I empathize for the people that are never going to be able to experience the thing they love again. They're going to make irrational arguments. It makes sense.
Defunctland VR. Is this an answer to the problem?
No, it's like a comfort food to wallow
It's like
in.
eating kid cuisine because you're depressed and you want a
Right.
simpler time.
It's like me going to watch old episodes of the Colbert Report from 2007 because I can't watch what's happening right now in the news. It's a sadder time. It feels like a sadder time, but I think it always felt that way. It's just we just talk about it more now. We hate the year. The Defunctland VR, though, to answer your question, is a very slow moving. It's more of an idea.
Or as
We have
your fans would phrase it, is Defunctland VR still happening?
yeah, oh my gosh. Yes, it's still happening very slowly, but it's fun. We have some people working on it. It's a cool little project. I think it, if we can contribute 20,000 leagues and we can combine them with the Horizons, if we can combine them with the old Space Mountain and the old Star Tours, if everybody kind of contributes, eventually one day there's going to be some program that can take all those textures and convert them into one, and then they can throw them together into a little faux amusement park, and everybody's going to have Oculus Quest. It's going to be amazing. But in the end, I think my goal is just, let's contribute this, and then if we finish it, we'll see what else we can do. But I think 20,000 leagues is a cool little contribution to the community.
Well, your website says the Dark Zone. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that
Would be
was
the first land.
that was the first land we wanted to do, was the Dark Zone. And so we've also animated some America Sings just to see how it looks.
That's what I thought. I was looking. I was like, that's a round building with a people mover, and I bet you that's America Sings.
It is.
And the other one was a Superstar Limo. Maybe I saw a
we
picture
did
of that.
just the facade.
Yeah, the concept art. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the facade. You're not gonna do the ride yet.
No, well, not yet. We're just trying to finish 20,000 leagues. It's also, I mean, these people, I'm not paying them. We're also not going to make any money. I'm not profiting.
It's a labor
off
of love. Like most VR re-experiences.
Right. It takes a long, long time. So, but it's one of those, it's cool to see when they finish the squid model. Like, that's squid.
Oh, yeah. For a minute, I was like Turbo Squid. I was like, oh no, you mean the actual giant octopus from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? That makes more sense.
Right. Yeah. That.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to even the little clips that we see, even just the hat, which I think the Mickey hat, which I hated while it was there, but it's neat to see it be recreated in VR for some reason. The sorcerer hat.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great icon. One of the only defunct icons.
My second to last question is, you have your spin-off series, Defunct TV, which has some of my favorite videos on your channel. And I love that you branched out. Why did you decide? I think you mentioned it earlier, but why Defunct TV?
Because I needed to pad the nerdiness when I introduced the concept of my channel to people. Oh, what are you doing nowadays, Kevin? Oh, I make videos on Disney rides and Universal rides. What? But it's much easier to say, oh, what are you doing nowadays, Kevin? Oh, I make YouTube videos on extinct theme park rides and canceled TV shows. Oh, that's great.
I just did one on Legends of the Hidden Temple, and everyone's like, oh, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I love that one. Or Bear in the Big Blue House. Oh, it's much. And so there was one. My main reason, other than that wasn't a reason. One, I wanted to expand because because that took Defunctland from this, oh, isn't it cool? It's a little niche channel that does that. That's gonna run out soon. I am laying claim to, or I'm putting out there that I could expand into anything.
Right. Your
That's
brand
just the
is
first step.
defunct anything now.
Right, defunct anything, and eventually it'll be anything. And that's
Don't
the
say that. That's not what I subscribed for. Kevin.
um, and so just I mean, it's something that I'm going to be interested in. I'm not going to do stuff that's uninteresting to me, and I think people are subscribing because they're interested in the same realm of things, or if they can just trust me to watch the video, then they'll also be interested in it. So yeah, I think Defunct TV was a good expansion because of that. I really was having issues with, I the inclusivity of the channel in its theme park state. Unless I did regional theme parks, and even then, I mean, theme parks are something that it's a luxury.
Are you saying you're
Um,
going to run out of things to cover
no,
eventually?
no, more of, because I'm never going to do that. There'll always be a story, I think, to do, but I think more of it's just such a exclusive thing because you had
Hmm.
to. A lot of people's childhood, they didn't go to Disney, and it was because of
Mm,
monetary issues or because their parents
gotcha.
didn't take them. But everybody had public TV. PBS was public broadcasting. I mean, you for the most part you could see Zaboomafoo, you could see Between the Lions, regardless of your income bracket. Those shows were designed to help people low income of low income and
Do you
areas of need help
do you,
learn, provide
do
a
you think you'll
baseline.
go farther back in time? Do you think you'll like Captain Kangaroo or Romper Room? Do you think you'll
Yeah,
like eventually go farther? Because like I have things that from when I was really little that I barely remember, and if I saw like a defunct TV episode about it, it would all come rushing back. I think.
You can't do that about.
yeah, and that's it's a different type of
You can't
magic.
do that on television all day
Um,
long.
the it's just this it's a different, I don't know, because I say magic, what I really mean is appeal. Like the appeal of the
Yeah.
theme park rides is like fear of missing out and this and that, but it's really just like I totally remember this, but I didn't remember it until just now.
Right. Yeah.
um and that's super fun. I also want to branch out and do not just kids shows. I want to do a bunch of different things. I think literally any canceled TV show is gonna. I mean, the more interesting stories are not in children's television. The interesting stories are when it's adults TV and there's actually like people following them. But I think there's a certain tranquility to defunct TV. The not the Jim Henson series, but the tranquility that comes from, oh wow, nobody cared. There's no news or drama about this. It
Yeah. It
ran
was
for
a
three
simpler time.
it ran for 3 seasons. They're like, "That's good. Thanks everybody. We're gonna rerun this." Like, it wasn't some big thing, so I think it was yeah. But
So the Jim Henson miniseries,
yes.
and I'll read you word for word what I wrote down yesterday. The Jim Henson miniseries may very well be one of the best series on YouTube right now.
Oh,
What
you're
led
gonna
to the decision to delve into such a specific subject in such an extensive way?
oof. Well, thank you so much. That's very sweet. I
I got to open with the compliment, but I'm serious though.
and you end with
It
you.
blows me away how good it is, and when it's all over, I'm gonna watch it all in one go again, like just as one collective thing because it's
Well,
so
that's
interesting and good and emotional.
well, thank you. So I was reading the Jim Henson biography by Brian J. Jones about 6, 7 months, I guess almost a year ago now, which is crazy. Gosh, it was almost a year ago now. It'll be a year next month. And then I started planning that I was like, man, this would make a great show. And so that was around the time that I was halfway through my Mike Eisner series. And I said, okay, there's something to this. This has to be the new age of documentaries. Can't just say Jim Henson 1, Jim Henson 2. Like, I want to tell the story, but I can't do the Jim Henson documentary part 1. I need to create an anthology series of his shows, Sam and Friends, then Sesame Street, Muppet Show, then Fraggle Rock, Muppet Babies, and then the last episode, which is on the Jim Henson Hour. Um, and so it's that idea. Well, people will click on Fraggle Rock. People remember that. Muppet Babies. People will click on that. Sesame Street. All that stuff. People will click on those individually, and then they'll realize it's part of a larger story, and hopefully they'll watch. I think it's worked out really well. I'm really happy so far with the response. That was probably one of my biggest risks, and with the Nickelodeon Hotel, I was like, this is going to do well. With the Jim Henson series, I was like, this could either just totally fail or totally do well. And honestly, the first episode didn't do stellar. People were like, oh yeah, this is great, I really like it, because I did a bunch of animations. That was when we introduced pretty much the whole format, and we've been kind of using
Mhm.
that same format because this also was written completely differently than Defunctland season 2 or any of the other stuff I do, is because this was written all at once, and then we
Mhm.
started making the episodes. We finished pre-production before production on episode 1 started. Uh,
Which gives it more of a linear feel and a full, complete story, not just a through line that's loose, but an actual storyline
yeah,
throughout all of the whole series.
and we
I
got
think actually the whole reason the season works so well is because it kind of reminds people of what is actually missing in the properties that he created. Like it's him. Like you watch the
right.
things and you're reminded that his
Oh, you
heart
mean
and
like the
his
ABC
spirit is,
show?
yeah, anything that has to do with the Muppets specifically. Disney keeps trying, and it's the heart that he had is what made everything that he touched so good.
And I think it's still there. There's people that definitely can do. I think Muppet Treasure Island
Yeah,
and
definitely.
those show that, those were a lot of the people that were there originally. But there's some people like David Rudman. I was just talking to Dan about the puppeteers right now that are just like that's Jim, Bill Beretta, all those like
Yep.
Jim, like those people live on like the David Rudman who plays, I think it's Rudman. He plays Cookie Monster now.
Mhm.
If you've seen anything with Cookie Monster in the past 10 years, it is the funniest thing
He
in the
has the
world.
best Twitter account, by the way. Cookie
Yes.
Monster.
But have you seen like anything with Cookie Monster is just brilliant. He's hilarious.
Now that's not Disney though. Disney doesn't own Sesame
Sure,
Street,
sure.
right?
But David Redman does work on both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
And
does.
so that said that I think the Jim Henson series, so really I can't take credit for the story. This is like it's a remix of Brian's book. It's a remix
Mhm.
of information. The first 2 episodes are really similar to the way Brian tells the story. And also Brian J. Jones helped as an assistant researcher on the series. I've been constantly in contact with him. He's solved all my issues. He's an incredible person. We did a whole call beforehand about the idea, and he kind of worked me through it. He was really helpful. For the first 2 episodes, I got to go a little bit deeper on Sam and Friends. I got to go a little bit deeper on the Muppet Show pilots. But then once the Muppet Show hit, that's where Brian and I's stories completely split, in my opinion. We're still telling basically what's happening in Jim's life, but he's talking about Jim's life, and I'm talking about Jim's creative life.
Right.
And I'm talking about the creations. And same thing with Fraggle Rock, because he does not go into Fraggle Rock basically at all, as he shouldn't, because Jim did basically nothing on it.
Right.
And
He
then Muppet
developed the
Babies,
show, but he wasn't there for the show.
exactly, and Muppet Babies even more so. So there's always that kind of, and of course Brian wasn't the first one to do that either, because there was people before him, and Jim and Jane, and the Jim Henson legacy, and Craig Shemin even. I'm doing a lot of that, compiling research, writing to make that story live on in the way it has, to the point where someone like me who does not have the internal contacts can pick up all of these different sources, whether it be of Muppets and Men, Jim Henson the Works, Jim Henson the Biography, all of these. I have like 6 books on Jim Henson just stacked up that I just constantly go through, and then I watch the episodes, and then I look up I go into the newspaper archives, and that's how we did most of the research for the series, me, Kristen Beal, and Disney Dan. And so it was just one of those. I think it worked out really well, and I would say that if
Resident puppet expert, Disney Dan.
yeah, resident puppet expert. If but I would say if anyone's listening and they've seen the series, if you really like the series, go read Brian's book, go buy it on Amazon. Go look at the Jim Henson legacy and look at Craig's work. If you like the series, you are crediting me, Kristen, Dan, John, all the people that have helped on the series, Nate, all the people that have helped on that series.
Mhm.
You're crediting us for the
Should have used
delivery.
Squarespace.
Yeah, the Squarespace ads. You're crediting us.
That's Nate. That's Nate's work, right?
Yeah, that's Nate. Nate and a few of his fellow puppeteer friends that did those. Um, you're crediting us for our delivery, but we are not digging this up. And that's where I think people will be happy once the series ends, because there'll still be so much more of that story that's told in different ways. So I think the delivery. I think we did a really great job. I'm really proud of the delivery. I think the animation in the first episode. I think the intro. I think overall, in general, or the I think the way we focused on the time theme, um, with timepiece, I think we did a good job of making it our own. That said, it would not have been possible without the work of just years, decades of work of people that are great people and are really talented and
And I think
telling
that
that story.
that helps it feel more 3-dimensional. It makes it feel like a fuller story. Is that there is more hands in it and more collective. research and help.
Yeah, it doesn't feel
It's
like
very
it doesn't feel it. I don't think it ever feels, and it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's not a Kevin video.
right. It's not just a normal YouTube video. That's why I say it's one of the best things on YouTube is it
Oh.
feels more complete and full than most YouTube videos ever do. It's not just one person's recollection of something. It is a full telling of a certain angle of a story, but very complete and three-dimensional. So
Thank you. Yeah, I hope we can stick the landing. One more episode left.
do you cover the theme park aspect next, right? You're gonna there's some aspect to Disney now and Disney World
Yeah,
in the last
I
in the
had to
last part.
stop it from turning into just a Defunctland episode
Right.
because
That's interesting to me.
if you've read the Jim Henson biography, have you read the biography?
I have not, but I will now.
Oh, you're gonna love it. Oh my gosh, read it. Brian's writing is beautiful. If you've read the Walt Disney biography by Neil Gabler, similar writing style. Disney War also in a similar writing style.
Mhm.
The way these people, these writers take quotes and then implement them into their stories as dialogue is just one of the coolest things. It makes you feel like you're reading a narrative, but it's all real and it's real quotes, real people talking. But yeah, so Brian's book is interesting because the last chapter or two read as a Defunctland episode. It's literally Jim Henson's going to Pleasure Island to go meet with Michael Eisner. And he's going to the Portobello Yacht Club, and he's talking to Jeffrey Katzenberg and Frank Wells about, what should we do about Muppet Vision 3D? And then he goes to the newly opened Grand Floridian and the newly opened Disney MGM Studios, and then the newly opened Pleasure Island, and that's literally those are all things he does in the book. And he talks about he goes to Imagineering and how he goes down Main Street and looks at and he how he loves Imagineers and how he thinks that's like one of his true callings is to be working on theme park rides. And I'm like, holy cow, this is just like a Defunctland episode. So I think I did a good job of halving it. I think the episode mainly focuses on the Jim Henson hour, and then
Which is something I've never heard of, the Jim Henson hour. So that's intriguing to me. It is like the Walt Disney Presents. That's
right.
what it sounds like.
It's exactly like that, but very weird. And a huge failure. And I think the last episode this one is actually told with 3 simultaneous timelines, and there's 3 stories going on at the same time, and I jump between all 3. And they're very separate timelines. It's not like, and then I go to Muppet Babies and then a Labyrinth. It's literally like 3 different periods of time, 3 completely different stories. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully well.
When does this when do you think the episode will drop? Just making sure it's not going to drop in the next 4 or 5 days before this comes out.
No, it's going to drop Thursday. So
oh wow, this might be timed perfectly then.
yeah, well so watch the episode and let me know if we jumped the shark. I'm sure we did.
I don't think you can jump the shark on a final episode. It's too late by then.
Yeah, I guess that's actually when you should jump the shark.
Yeah, go all out.
Yeah.
Go out, but guns a-blazing. And I like the idea if you're going to tell multiple stories, but as long as you're wrapping up, like if you're conclusioning it.
Yeah, it's going to feel
I don't think that's a word.
Extremely conclusive. It's like,
okay.
Probably because he dies, but.
Well, yeah, spoilers.
Spoilers.
No, just the end of the last couple episodes. Like the time, the clicking ticking clock thing is reminding us.
Right.
That he's sprinting and he's doing as much as he can to leave a legacy, and then now he's doing as much as he can. Like the way you phrased it in the last episode is interesting. That because we know the end, but he doesn't, and yet he's still doing as much as he can. Because
the idea that he was always looking to do as much as he can, and now he's looking to do as much as he can be remembered for.
The legacy.
He was always looking ahead, and now he's looking behind. Instead of looking to create new, he's looking to preserve. Right. So, yeah.
Ian is a huge fan of the films, the fantasy films. We did. We recorded a Patreon podcast recently. We haven't aired it yet, and Ian talked endlessly about how much he loves. What are the 2 films? The Dark Crystal
and Labyrinth was the other one I did.
Yeah, Labyrinth and
for a theme park land.
For a theme park land as an idea.
That's right.
Which is it could never happen, but I know Jim Henson would be very proud to hear that.
Dude, those movies are awesome.
Yeah, they are. They're interesting for sure. They were not well received, but they are very well remembered.
Yeah. Well, the series is coming now, so for the Dark Crystal,
Right,
it's gotta
exactly.
be interesting. Somebody remembered it.
No, it has a huge fan base, and it's just so weird that it was so ill received at the beginning.
And I think that might be just that he was a little bit pigeonholed in what people expected of him.
Yeah.
And then when he shied away from the zaniness, I think people reacted negatively to it because that's not what they subscribe for.
Yeah, they didn't subscribe for that. Also, there's a really funny part in
his Twitter would have been pissed.
Oh yeah, gonna call him a Disney shill. There's a really funny part in the biography where Jim's like playing with this camcorder, and he's like, "Man, one day everyone can just make movies at home and then put them out there for everybody." And like, and then Brian just like, yeah, Jim was just a few years ahead of his time because eventually YouTube. And I was like, man, if Jim Henson were alive today, I'd probably saying this because I'm a YouTuber, but he'd be a YouTuber for sure.
Oh yeah,
like that's perfect.
Well,
for him.
like Steven Spielberg making his 8mm films in his backyard with his father and making war films. Those would be YouTube videos for sure.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Well, that's all the questions I have. And this was amazing. It did go on a little bit longer, but I think that's actually a good thing. Kevin, thank you so much for being on the show.
Anytime, it's about time.
But is there anything else that you want to plug or anything else, anywhere else we can find you besides Defunctland right now?
Yeah, so of course on youtube.com/Defunctland you will find the Jim Henson series, Defunctland Season 2, eventually Defunctland Season 3, a bunch of minisodes, a ton of stuff. The Defunctland podcast is all over the place. It just got on Spotify as most recently, so get up on that. Because Spotify actually opened up their podcast thing at a beta a while back and I didn't notice. And then we also work with Inside the Magic, which is another website, YouTube channel, and we made some content for them. And part of that is Club Game Night. We uploaded 2 Club Game Night episodes, part 1 and part 2. And Alicia, you were part of them, and it is it's a super fun. Did you ended up watching them, right?
Oh yeah, they're so funny.
Aren't they great?
The way they're edited, they're so good.
Yeah, it turned out super great. Did you watch them yet?
I watched them, and then I was yelling at Alicia for answers when she was stammering.
Yeah, I didn't know.
She couldn't hear me, obviously, but I was yelling at my phone.
Heidi, Tool Time, Heidi. How did I not think of that?
Oh my gosh, Mark was mad.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think we have some more of those coming. I'm not sure where they'll be. I think we might put them on Inside the Magic. We might try to find a different place for them. But yeah, just stay tuned on Inside the Magic. We have some other kinds of content we're trying out there. Kind of an old testing ground every once in a while for us for some new ideas. So I think there's a lot more in the theme park sphere. So yeah.
Yeah. And there's another project I worked on, but we won't talk about that because it's a secret.
Because I just can't get it out of post-production. But it will eventually.
Yeah, one day though. One day you'll all see it, and it's amazing. And we worked really hard on it. And by we, I mean everyone who's working really hard on it. I was just showing up for audio.
Yeah, it's actually you know why it's taking us so long to finish, right?
Because it's so good.
No,
because there's so much effort being put into it.
Well, yes, but okay. No. What? Yes, that's actually why. But what's my fake reason?
Oh, I don't know.
Because we can't edit out this damn cat. It's in the background.
Oh,
every
Mickey?
single episode. Like we can't get it out.
I like when we as characters include the cat as if it's part of the story.
Did you ever do that?
Yeah, what happened once. So I hear the creatures.
Oh man, I can't wait for this.
We'll get it out there. But yeah, so
I'm really looking forward
to whatever the heck we're talking about. And thank you for listening to my dumb voice for so long. To everyone listening, thank you.
No, I think this is interesting. This is a new format for us. We didn't talk about that much. We talked a little bit about current events, so I guess we stayed true to our. This is what people are gonna say. I didn't subscribe for this. I know because we didn't talk about current events. But I thought this was a lot of fun, and I'm so glad that you agreed to be on. So thank you, Kevin.
Thank you for having me.
And if you guys want to hear the other hour that we cut out, just pay the Patreon fees.
I'm not going to cut out an hour, just 10 minutes. I usually cut out 10 minutes, and you can find it on patreon.com/themeparkstop. So thank you again. Bye, guys.
Bye.